Kenyan music scene is always evolving. From the days of Kapuka and Genge to the raunchy rise of Gengetone, every era has carried a distinct sound, a mood, and a movement. But every once in a while, a movement comes along that completely redefines the musical landscape. In this documentary, we explore how a sound that many dismissed as noise rose to become one of the most dominant forces in the Kenyan music scene today. This is the story of Arbantone. To understand Arbantone, we have to go back to its roots. In 2018, a group of young artists from Nairobi's Eastlands released a track that will change everything. That track was Lambalolo by Ethic Entertainment. It was raw, unfiltered, and laced with a street slang that hit different. The beat was simple but addictive, and the lyrics captured the boldness and rebellion of Kenyan youth. That song marked the birth of Gengetone. Inspired by Genge and dancehall, Gengetone brought with it a new attitude. It didn't care for censorship or the opinions of the older generation. It was loud and full of energy. It spoke about the real things happening in the hood, from crime to partying to street hustles. And for many young people around Kenya, this sound felt real. It felt like them. Gengetone grew fast. Groups like Boondocks Gang, Ochungulo Family, and Sailors Gang started taking over the airwaves. Solo artists like Saru entered the game and added a new dimension. The movement wasn't just about music, it was about identity. For the first time in a long time, there was a genre that reflected the lived experiences of Kenya's youth. The beats were catchy and the rhymes were gritty. Gengetone was street music, and the streets loved it. But like many fast-burning flames, Gengetone started to lose momentum. By 2022, critics were calling it repetitive, some artists became controversial, several groups broke up, and there was a growing feeling that the genre had peaked. At the same time, other global influences like the UK drill had begun to take over Kenya's youth playlists. Gengetone was still around, but the excitement had cooled. Then came a surprise. In late 2023, Kenyan producer Soundcraft teamed up with Tipsy G, Goditena, and Kapi to release a song called TikToker. The track was different.
Ati black chocolate ni fine melanin bana kutoka nikapate na sika napenda kenye miwa napenda soka napenda toto chupa na
While it still had that Gengetone bounce, the production was cleaner, the lyrics were more polished, and the overall feel was more radio-friendly. It quickly went viral and hit over 10 million views. The street took notice. The industry insiders started asking questions. Was this the rebirth of Gengetone, or something new entirely? What followed was the beginning of a new sound, one that carried the DNA of Gengetone but stripped away some of its wild edges. The artist behind it started calling it Arbantone, a name derived from the word urban. It was meant to reflect the modern Kenyan youth. It was sophisticated but still streetwise, bold but more mindful of branding, and with that, a new era began.
Arbantone, lyrics zetu ukiangalia, tunatry as much kuziweka zikuwe safi. Hata ikiwa chafu, ni design yenye mtu hawezi rada.
Arbantone borrowed heavily from Genge and the early 2000s Kenyan hits. Songs like Bidi Yangu by Jua Kali and Moral by Pilipili were sampled and flipped to create something fresh.
Ni the same thing tu, yani ni venye tu spice kidogo. Tukaona acha tu pia wasanii wetu kama kina Jua Kali walikubali since tumekuwa nao before tufanye hiyo shughuli. Tukaona manzi beat ni kali na tukaongea nao. Wamekubali so mbona
While Gengetone had a raw unfiltered sound, Arbantone was smoother. It focused more on vibe and delivery than shock value. Artists like Saru, Kapi and Paroti were among the first to embrace this new direction. They realized that to grow and get accepted by wider audiences, the music had to evolve. According to Paroti, one of the main challenges Gengetone faced was how it was branded. The lyrics were often too vulgar, which led to backlash and even cancellation of some artists. With Arbantone, the goal was to clean things up, talk about partying, fun, and youth culture without being overly explicit. And so a cleaner, more refined version of street music was born.
Gengetone bado ni culture noma. Si tumeanzia hapo na tumeaccept na nimetufikisha hata pale tumefika hapa hivi so far. But na feel tu kila kitu yenye tunadu lazima to evolve because hatuwezi baki the same kila time na dunia na time na generations zinaenda zikichange. Trend imekuwa Gengetone. Na for me na feel tu bado ni the same thing tunadu. It's just that say tuko careful na words zenye tunaenda kwa.
Early Arbantone hits like Lele and Nakudai showed that the genre had potential. These tracks featured clever lyrics layered over familiar sounding beats. At first, some fans dismissed them as just another form of Gengetone, but over time, the distinction became clear. Arbantone was about musical growth. It was street culture meeting commercial appeal, but nevertheless, there were still challenges. The heavy use of samples raised questions about copyright and originality, but most artists confirmed they had cleared the samples and given credit where it was due.
Nanaka physically beatsi yangu, but tulienda tukaongea na producer, tukagree on terms, tukalipa license ya beat and everything. Okay. So as of now, tuko way much more serious na vile tuna handle hizo ma beats ndio hizo ma copyrights zisikuje baadaye.
Even then, producers knew that for the genre to have a future, they had to start creating original beats. That's when the sound really began to take shape.
Wameharibu, yes, 1 or 2 songs ziko na vibe here and there, but wameharibu the culture. Why? Because now we don't have originality. Tunachukua, like, is this copy paste, and then now you just add like a bit of flavor juu yake, of which inapoteza originality. And then
artists like Triumio and Saru began experimenting with new flows and melodies. Their hit song Maintain Hivo Hivo showcased a different side of Arbantone, one that was more melodic, more thoughtful, and more innovative. Instead of copying the older generation, they found new ways to remix the culture. Another major factor in Arbantone's rise has been social media, especially TikTok. With most of its artists belonging to Gen Z, they understood how to market music in the digital age. Songs will blow up, not just on radio, but through viral dance challenges. Tracks like Set It by Diana Coz and AJ, as well as TikToker by Goditena, were carried by trends and dance routines. This made the genre more interactive and exciting for fans. Then came Kudade, a 2024 mega hit by Furthermore, Harry Craze, Ndovuku, Lil Minor and Johnny Johnny. The song was already a banger in the streets. But when Fancy Fingers from Sauti Sol dropped a refix, it opened a whole new world. For the first time, an Afropop heavyweight was tapping into Arbantone. This wasn't just a remix, it was a signal, a sign that the genre had crossed over. From there, collaborations exploded. Suddenly, Arbantone was everywhere. And it wasn't just singles, full EPs and projects were being released. Today, Arbantone is more than a trend. It's a movement, a blend of old and new, of street and of studio. It is the kind of music you'll hear blasting on matatus, playing in clubs, going viral on TikTok, and featured on mainstream radio. And while there is still a debate about how long it will last, one thing is clear: Kenyan's youth have created a sound that speaks for them, loudly and proudly. And as new styles continue to emerge and evolve in the Kenyan music scene, Arbantone has already made its mark. And if its current momentum is anything to go by, this genre is not going anywhere anytime soon. This is the rise of Arbantone, and this is just the beginning. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Definitely, I'd love to get your opinion about Arbantone versus Gengetone.
All amazing music, good stuff. I'm a big fan of Arbantone. I'm a big fan of Gengetone. So we are here to support them. Arbantone, Gengetone to the world.
There is some level of criticism. I mean,
wacha waongee bana. Wakitaka wala wana criticize, waingie studio pia.
Waingie studio. Well said. Could never be put any better. Thank you so much, Manzeki.